Everybody, Sam Straits here, welcome back to another live stream, and yes, amazingly, we're here with Happens again. We actually joked this time last week saying, we ought to do this every week, and then what goes and happens, we have the Bachmann stuff released, and here we are again for yet another live stream. So yeah, that's basically it today. We're going to be doing basically all we did last week. We're going to be going through some of the new announcements, the new releases, maybe talking a little bit about them, maybe showing some of the models that have gone before, just to give you an idea really of what they're like. So Dave Martin's here again with us.
Yes, good to see you all again. As said, it's only been a week, but what a week it's been.
Yes, very much so. And of course, we've got the other Dave over doing the editing for us again, who's going to be doing a great job. Say hello, Dave.
Hello again.
There we go. His camera's set up properly today, so you can see him and not me. Right, so an interesting morning. We've had even less time to prepare for this one because it was a 12 o'clock announcement rather than 10. So we haven't had a practice, we haven't done this before, so if we end up sort of just going into the sheets of paper and not being quite as polished as we might have been last week, then that's the reason. But yeah, what do you reckon to the announcements then?
Yeah, it's a good set of announcements. It's Bachmann using a lot of the previous models really to really get a lot of the new liveries out of them, but at the same time there are quite a new few toolings to look at as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those. And in fact, a lot of the I suppose the most interesting and a lot of the new tool stuff, as you say, is actually the 009 stuff, which is
it's a really growing market at the moment, the narrow gauge market. It's something that a lot of people are getting into, and I mean, Bachmann's recently released the Baldwin locos in 009, which are a really nice bit of kit, very well detailed. And the good thing about narrow gauge is you can get so many different liveries and colours out of it as well. So it's really good to see the range getting going, so to speak.
So we thought to shake things up, and because there's been a lot of new sort of 009 gauge releases, we thought we'd start with those. Yeah. So what have we got first then, Dave?
We've got, actually, it's something a little bit different. It's a Bagley Drury 70 horsepower diesel shunter. Now, these are pretty much as modern images as you get in 009. These were built in the 1980s in real life, used by the Royal Naval Armaments Depot. So, a lot of military use, etc., handling explosives, that sort of thing. But a lot of them have entered preservation now of a lot of narrow gauge railways across the country. So, you can get them in all different colours, shapes, sizes, really. And as said, it's completely different to what's gone before in Ready to Run 009. A lot of people have brought out steam locos, vintage carriages. So these really are for the guys who think, yeah, I quite like that narrow gauge, I want to get into that, but I model diesels, I model electric. You know, it's completely open door at the moment, so it's good to see Bachmann stepping into it.
It's quite an interesting little small sort of shunter, isn't it? It's quite interesting as well that it's relatively modern. I suppose that might even give rise to a few new layouts which previously couldn't have existed with current.
It's the last thing you kind of think of with narrow gauge railways, really. A lot of people think of the great little trains of Wales with the double Fairley locomotives. The Linton and Barnstable stuff's really popular at the moment. But actually going right up to date to sort of a military railway theme, I can see it working. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the flesh.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, there's quite a bit of rolling stock as well with the 009. We've got the RNAD brake vans. If we've got a picture of those, I think we do. Yep, there it is. So quite an interesting looking thing once again. Is this new to the range?
Yeah, these whole series of wagons are new to the range. These are complementary to the loco, really. Yes. I think they're a little bit older than the loco in real life, and there's a couple of different variations there, but these were used around these military railways as well.
Right.
But the good thing about these, with the look of them, you can let them go anywhere, really. You know, they've still got the look of a really good four-wheel wagon to them, so even for the guys who model the steam, these are a bit more vintage looking, so you can translate them into
quite versatile.
Definitely.
So that was the brake van. There's also just a general van, isn't there, as well?
General goods van.
Same range. Three plank wagon is another one as well. We've got some images of those if we take them up. So that's the general van we spoke about. I think it's quite a nice livery on that one. I think, are they doing that version?
Yeah, that's from the Stafford Barn Railway in Staffordshire.
Oh right, okay.
So
Yeah,
so that's out and about in real life. As is the open wagon you can see there at the moment with the SB lettering on it. So
fantastic, yes. And then also I think it's a flat wagon as well, finally, is coming up there. Yep, there it is.
Just to finish a set there, really. Yeah. So a good variety of loco and 4 different types of wagon to use with them. A few different liveries to look at there as well. I think there's 2 liveries per vehicle. So it's already a good little set to get going. And if you do fancy that sort of modern image side of it, as I said before, it's... you've got enough to get yourself going there, so to speak. So it's a really good,
quite a nice
really
variety.
Set. Absolutely.
Set. All right, and again, you're going to have pre-orders open for those, aren't you? So as soon as the stream's over, check back in the description. And a link to pre-orders.
Yeah, the pre-orders are open right now on those, so have a nosy.
Right, so that's the new stuff in 009, but there's also a few re-liveries to existing models.
Yeah.
I've already mentioned one of them, that is, of course, the Baldwins.
That's
really
it. Well,
these
have proven really popular since they first came in. They've been in a lot of different liveries. They were originally built in the USA for the war effort in World War One, so a lot of them got to sort of tracks in the trenches, etc. But quite a few came back to the UK for a whole lot of different uses. Various small private railways, such as the Ashover Railway and the Welsh Highland, got them in the 20s and the 30s. So they really started to get some nice liveries in there. And the first one you got there actually is the lined red of the Welsh Highland Railway. That's one of my favourites actually. It really is quite iconic. The bonus for that one as well is they're managing to squeeze sound into it, so that one comes sound fitted as a starter, which
it's quite impressive, really. It's not a big thing, is it, by any stretch? For
the size of it as well. So it's got a speaker pre-fitted, whole sound chip pre-fitted, so that's really good to get in, especially in 009. I think it's a first to the scale there.
Yeah. So you've got the Welsh Highland lined red, quite a usual choice, I suppose. But then, in contrast to that, we've got one that I don't think many will have seen coming.
Yeah, this was a completely unexpected loco. This is a version in Southern Railway livery, so it didn't actually happen in real life, but it really does look the part. It really complements the Linton and Barnstaple locos and coaches that are coming out at the moment, and it's hard to resist having that on a Linton and Barnstaple layout. It's a lot of people have got that at the moment. It might not have happened in real life, but I just think it would look so nice next to the locos. And of course, the Linton and Barnstaple Railway did have a Baldwin in real life. Not quite the same design, but still the connection's there, so to speak. And in real life, there's a high chance they may have got hold of one in the 1920s after the war for cheap. So...
some people might be cross, some people might not, but at the end of the day, it's quite attractive, and I'm sure some people will really enjoy it.
Absolutely.
What else is there? What else could they do, really? What other purpose could they fulfill? So that's the locomotive. There's also some new liveries on the bogie box vans, including the Express Dairy livery. I think that was our favourite of the pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite a nice blue. Nice bright colours there, quite attractive, but once again it's worth checking the rest of the range, isn't it, just to see what else is available.
Yeah, again, there's quite a few already out there on those and on the way as well, so have a peep through, and they do pretty much every variation you can ask for, really. Cool,
very nice. So that's the 009 stuff. I know a lot of people that watch my channel might not necessarily be interested in that, so thank you for sitting through that, but otherwise hope you enjoyed seeing the 009 stuff, and if like me, I guess people are only into 00 gauge, maybe with some nice new releases in 009 on the way, it might be something maybe to dip the toe into. Perhaps.
That's it. It's getting a lot more tempting every single day. Passes really. The range is growing.
Baldwin, my goodness.
I can see 2019. A lot of people getting tempted to get into it.
For sure. Right. So that's 009 stuff out of the way. Enjoyed looking at those. Now we're getting into sort of more. Well, for me, it's more natural, more home territory with the 00 gauge stuff. So not a massive amount of newly tooled stuff this year, which I suppose is understandable given Bachmann's situation. But there is at least one.
Yeah, so we have one new tool in, and it's the HKA aggregate hopper.
Yep.
So this is one of the biggest freight wagons out there on the modern scene,
it's
really.
Huge, actually, isn't it?
They're a pretty meaty bit of kit, really. And these were built in the 90s. They were ordered by National Power, which is the livery you can see there. And they actually ordered their own locos to come with these, Class 59, to transport coal to the power stations in Yorkshire.
Right.
Once all the companies merged, it became under EWS. But the wagons actually got withdrawn for a while, and then they refurbished them. So this model is just of the refurbished version.
Yeah, so that's the 2009 refurbishment.
Yeah. So you can get these in the National Power livery, but you can also get them in the bright red DB Schenker livery as well, that a lot of people recognise. Yeah. So really good model. I think quite a few people with Dapple announced in the 59 have been asking for this wagon to go behind it. So again, it's good to get a wagon that's already got a loco to suit.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a good addition to the range.
And that's the end of the exhaustive list of new tools. Right, so that might sound a little bit underwhelming to start with, but then if you actually take a look at the locomotives that are on offer, certainly steam and also diesel as well, you'll notice that there are actually quite a few nice sometimes not been seen for a long while, liveries. So it's, definitely don't be disappointed with the Bachmann range. There's some quite interesting things that we've come across, some that certainly got me pretty excited.
Absolutely. I mean, Bachmann's got a fantastic back catalogue of toolings to really use, and this year they've really looked at some new liveries, some ones that haven't been featured for a while, and really gone to town on this side of it, really. So fair play to them for doing that. There's a lot of really good stuff in here, as you're about to see.
Yes. So the first one we're actually lucky enough to have sort of an example of here, not in the livery we're going to be talking about, but it is in fact the 57XX pannier tank. Here it is. Mine is this one's from the Railway Children pack. I believe it will be the same model as the ones we're about to talk about. Although of course this is the fictional livery. Although it doesn't stop them, does it? Being fictional. So yeah, that's the locomotive. We just brought that in there so that you can see what the model looks like besides the livery. A couple of interesting liveries. One of them is the London Transport livery, which I really do love. I've been talking about that not too long ago in a video actually, where I reviewed the old Triang version in the London Transport, and as nice as it was a little bit toy-like, and I said in that video it would be nice just to have a readily available London Transport pannier tank to buy, and it looks as though that wish is being granted for the time being. So
these are always something a bit different as well, because this is, a lot of people think British Railways steam ended in 1968, and these locos in London Transport livery actually carried on until 1971. So these were the real last sort of steam locomotive usage in England, well, the whole of the UK really, and so it really was the last gasp. And this loco you can still see in this livery today as well, and it is a really nice looking livery in the maroon. So
I agree.
It's a bit of a soft spot for those really, and shows that there's always a couple of little interesting corners of history as well.
Yes. And of course there's quite a lot of different locomotives that also appeared in that livery, which can match together. Class 20 is a very, very different locomotive which appeared in the same livery. I think there's some Prairies as well that appeared in London. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's quite nice to have another pannier.
It is indeed.
I think. Yeah. And there's a couple, isn't there? There's a couple of liveries for the 57XX.
Yeah, they're doing a few more.
Check them out if you're interested. All right, do you want to take the next one then?
Yeah, well, this is a return for the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Class 5. A lot of you will know this is the Aspinall 242. And these were used all around the north of England on suburban services. Got quite a few different liveries. The good return this year is to see it back in the original Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway black livery.
Yeah, very attractive livery.
This was only available as a limited edition before, so quite a few people will have been waiting to see it go in the main catalogue, and here it is now.
I think so.
The other livery that's coming back through is the model we've got in front of us here.
Yeah, so we're expecting it to be pretty similar to this actually. So, and this is the one, and we've got a review of this here on the channel, so if you want to check that one out, feel free to. But yeah, I can speak firsthand and say that this is pretty darn good model. Good quality, good construction, a lot of die cast on it, certainly with the running board and whatnot. Great little mechanism. It's a 242, so you perhaps expect possibly it's not going to be the most reliable runner, but in fact, contrary to that, as soon as I got it on my layout, it was a brilliant runner from the start. So don't be put off by the wheel configuration, which is actually quite unusual and attractive, I think.
And there's a lot of intricate lining on here as well, which is always a nice bonus.
Definitely. Yeah, great little models.
Yeah, it's good to see them back.
Yes, certainly. Right, so another favourite of mine is up next.
Speaking of intricate lining.
Yes, and this is one that is a favourite of mine. And again, this is one that I've wanted for absolutely years, but not been able to get because, well, they didn't make many, and the ones that are still available cost the earth. So it is the C-Class, for the first time, sort of, in bulk, I suppose, in mass production, we have the SECR lined green, which is absolutely fantastic. You can see it there on the screen. An absolute beautiful livery. Up until now, you've really been restricted to the BR blacks and the sort of southern lined black. Both very, very nice models, don't get me wrong, but always for me, seeing pictures of the SECR version, I always thought, wow, I'd love to get one of those. So finally, it's looking as though I might be able to.
That's it. They've done it once before based on the preserved example at the Bluebell Railway, and it sold like hotcakes when it first came out. Some of the prices to go for now are ridiculous. Really, so
300 quid.
They have confirmed that it will be the full bells and whistles livery as well. It'll have the intricate underframe lining. It'll have basically everything you can see on the picture there will be lined. So again, quite an iconic, quite an attractive livery there, and
not an easy livery to perfect, I would imagine as well, especially
not at all.
Gauge.
Not
Dave
at all.
knows all about that.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're looking forward to it. See what it's like.
Definitely.
If it's as good as the previous release, it's going to be something quite special, I would have thought.
That's it. And if they sell half as quick, they'll still go pretty quick. So if you're after one, make sure you go for one.
Might have to do that. Fantastic. Cool. So what's next?
So next up, we've got the standard Class 4. Now, these are quite a workaday locomotive. They've been in Bachmann's catalogue about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Good, well-detailed locomotive.
Yeah.
But it's good to see this particular one model. This is actually a preserved locomotive, number 76084, but this is also allowed on the main line too, so you can see it all over the country in this livery at the moment.
Yeah.
So, as well as the people who model sort of 1950s, 1960s, this is a really useful engine, but it's also a good loco for the people who model bang up to date, but want something old-fashioned, so to speak, on a layout.
Yeah, plenty of people that enjoy owning preserved locomotives, so this is quite another nice one to add to the collection, I suppose, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And as you say, they're pretty decent models as far as I'm aware, pretty good detail. Don't really show their age particularly, and generally speaking, they run very, very nicely.
Yeah.
So yeah, should be good to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got another standard coming up. The 3MT is going to be back in the range once again. We've got, I think we've got an image of the BR Black version with the lake crest. The special thing about this is the weathering. Other Dave Milett, just was amazed by the weathering on this. It looks super realistic. You can see the rust there creeping down the side of one of the tanks. Quite an impressive factory weathering job on that one.
Yeah, it's something really special. Bachmann's weathering's been getting better and better over the last few years, and this just takes it to a whole new level. A lot of people really like the sort of gritty end of steam 1960s finish to locos, and this really looks like it'll capitalise on that. So it's looking like it's going to be something special here.
Should be, yeah. So again, nice return, I think. Pleased to see that one again. Not been in the range.
Not been in the catalogue for a few years now, and this is one with a couple of those sort of special details as well. It's got an opening smokebox door on there too, with the full detail behind. So just a couple of little features like that are really nice to see.
Yeah, nice little touches of realism here and there. Very nice. Okay, so the next model is yet another that I do have a version of. It is, of course, the very lovely LMS Patriot, and I believe that they are doing it in the livery shown here as well. We have the LMS Maroon here. Mine is 55541. I'm not sure which one it is they're releasing. Is it that one? No, it's 5551 is the version they're doing, but it is indeed going to be in the LMS Crimson.
Well, this one's a bit special as well because it's a loco that doesn't actually fully exist in real life yet.
Oh, is it really?
So this is a model of the Unknown Warrior.
This
is currently being built at the moment to commemorate the 100th anniversary of World War One and the Unknown Soldier as well.
Right.
So this will be coming out in full Crimson Lake livery in real life and on Bachmann's model as well. So it's good to see Bachmann still using the Patriot, which is a really nice model that's been out for a couple of years now.
And you have the potential really to own a model of a locomotive that doesn't yet exist in real life then. So
That's it.
It's quite an unusual circumstance, really.
Absolutely. Well, they're both being constructed at the same time, the model version and the full size one.
It's a race.
That's it.
Who will get there first? Well, we'll have to see what happens with that, but other than that, you can tell just what a nice model it is. Once again, a few years old, but it just looks fantastic, doesn't it? One of my favourites.
Really nice bit of kit, these. You can see I've got a soft spot for the LMS stuff, but this is this particular favourite.
Beautiful. So, yeah, might have to get myself one of those. I don't know, I can't really afford to, really, can I? But it makes you feel like you want to, put it that way. So, there we go, that is the Patriot. Alright, what is next?
Well, the other one's another new build locomotive. This is one that a lot of people might be more familiar with. This is Tornado.
Yeah.
So this is the famous A1 class locomotive that was finished in 2008. The first full-size new steam loco built for 40 years or so.
That's the one, yeah.
And this has been all around the country since then. They've painted it several different colours, and this is it in BR Brunswick green.
Yes.
So not the colour that most people are familiar with it.
Yeah, we were looking at this up earlier. It seems it only appeared in, well, as far as we could tell, it only appeared in that livery for a relatively short spell of time. So it's something a little bit unusual, isn't it? But always very attractive in BR green with a lake crest.
And Tornado always sells pretty well when it's in as well, with it being a pretty iconic loco that a lot of people recognise. Mm-hmm. So again, expecting that one to go pretty quickly once it's in.
It should be good to see. Yeah. So next up is another iconic loco, but of a slightly different colour, literally and figuratively. There, it is of course the 9F, Bachmann's famous 9F, which is a very well acclaimed model, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is also, I think we've got is there a weathered version with this one coming?
There is a weathered version coming through, so I don't think we've seen a picture of the weathered version, but I'm expecting it to be a similar good finish. But there is also a preserved version coming through as well, which I think is 92212, as is at the Mid-Hants Railway.
Right, okay.
So it's good to see again that a preserved model that people can go out and see in real life is being replicated.
So,
and these are as big as you get, really. This is the heavy freight sort of final design. It never got bigger and more powerful than this, and they were massively successful, but the lives in real life were cut short simply because steam wasn't cool anymore, really, and they were actually planned to go on until the 1980s and 1990s. So
it's a bit wasteful in the end then, really.
That's it. It really was a crime that these didn't quite do what they were fully capable of, but at the same time I'm sure a few people would be quite cross at seeing them in rail freight and VR Blue.
That is true.
So it's an interesting what if there, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. But I suppose there's quite a few preserved though, so we're quite lucky in that sense. And that seems to be a little bit of a theme really with this year's Bachmann releases. Quite a few of them we've noticed are preserved or soon to exist in real life, as with the Patriot. So yeah, that's quite a nice one. That is it basically then for the Steam. There are lots of others, so once again check out the range if you want to see more, but those are the ones that we've decided we'll cover here today. So we'll head over to Dave, because I notice he's been taking down some comments. So how's it going over in the chat, Dave?
It's very busy, especially for super chats at the moment.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, there's LaserJets sent a super chat in. Scarlet with the Great sent one in, says what this for the Epic Modelers. Stephen Hill sent one in. Tim Watts has sent one in. Logan R sent one in. The Hyper Monkey sent one in. I sent quite a big one in actually. And he's also asked if we've ever been to Miniature Wonderland. Now I have. I went about 5 years ago.
Wow, gosh.
And yeah, it's an absolutely awesome place to go and visit.
I've been more recently, and I didn't want to leave. It's lucky I'm back here, really. So
yeah,
you're making me want to go now because I've never been.
Yes, since I've been, there's been a couple of bits opened, and there's more being built all the time. So yeah, it's well worth a trip. And you know, if you're gonna go, don't spend less than half a day there at least. It's massive. So yeah.
Well, thank you for those, by the way, everybody. That's very kind.
Yeah.
The super chats.
A couple of other things. Harry Toddrunter's just saying about the SECR C-Class, along with a few other people, saying how the SECR is his favourite livery, and we can all understand why that one is.
Yeah, very much so.
Don Wibbly, is saying he loves the standard 4s, and a couple of people asking where to find lists of the models. They should all be on our website by now, shouldn't they? Yeah. So if you go to hattons.co.uk, there should be a link on the homepage there to the Bachmann 2019 announcement. And there will be a link on this stream as well.
Yeah, as
soon as we're done. But yeah, as soon as we're done, we'll get the link up, and that'll go straight to the Hattons website. Right. So yeah, I'll hand you back over now.
Thank you for that. Well, I'm glad everybody's enjoying it anyway, and I'm glad that it's not just me that's excited about the SEC class. That is going to be amazing. So, as I say, yeah, that's the end of the steamers. We'll get on to some diesels now.
Yes, definitely. Go a bit more modern image. And first up, it's the return of the Class 20.
Yeah, very popular model. From
yes,
Bachmann.
And this has been in the catalogue for a few years now, but as you said before with some of the other models, it's not showing its age at all, really, and there's lots and lots of liveries you can get through on this, a couple of one-offs, but it's good to see two more sort of common liveries come back to the catalogue this year. These haven't been in for a couple of years now, and there's BR Green back this year, just plain green with discs, and then there's BR Blue as well. So two liveries that lasted years and years on these locos. Hundreds of them existed. You could find them all over the UK. And the bonuses with Class 20s, they commonly ran in pairs as well, so you can always get a second one and pop it on the other end, so to speak.
Oh, excellent. That does sound pretty good. So yeah, Class 20s, I've only ever owned the old Lima versions, so with them popping back into the range, might be I might pick one up, maybe do a review on it, see what they're like, see what it's like to come into the modern age in terms of the models.
Yeah,
so
well,
see what those
they've
are
got
like.
the full suite of details. They've got NEM couplings. They've got a really powerful motor in there as well. So they're a 21st century model, really.
And I bet they're all-wheel drive as well, unlike the Lima ones.
Yeah.
So a worthwhile upgrade.
Definitely.
So another classic diesel is the Class 37, which is making a comeback this year with a few different liveries. Let's see, what have we got here? West Coast Railway. That's one that can be used all over the UK. I think they've got some preserved examples in that livery, haven't they?
Yeah, these are used all around the UK, pulling heritage charters, and often team up with steam locomotives on the main line as well. So if you fancy steam and diesel, you can mix and match a little bit. But they're used all over the UK at the moment.
Yeah, and then there's a Colas rail freight, isn't there, as well, which is quite an attractive livery. I think we've got a picture. Oh no, we haven't. Not to worry. But yeah, if you've seen that livery before, you know how attractive that is. So yeah, worth looking at that. And then the one that popped onto the screen in an unwelcome fashion, as you can see, we have the BR Blue there with the large logo, which really does look quite smart, doesn't it, really?
This is a lot of people's favourite livery on these locos. They're used in the 1980s up in Scotland, so quite a lot of scenic photos taken with them in. They're always quite iconic with the depot embellishments as well. You either get the Scotty dog on the side or the stag from the Inverness Highland Rail depot as well. So a lot of depots really took to customising these, and you can see that across the various models. So no doubt this is going to be popular as well, really.
Well, it certainly looks attractive, so if it looks as good as it does on that image, no doubt it'll be a big success. Okay, so what's coming up next then?
We're on to the Class 40 next. Now, this is sort of the 37's bigger brother, really. A lot of people see some similarities in the design. They were built by the same company, both by English Electric, and these were quite a bit heavier, but these came beforehand, so the design was almost refined for the 37, really. Mm-hmm. But these have always been a popular model in Bachmann's range. The model's really well detailed, and there's two liveries that I really don't think are going to stick around this year.
Right.
The first one being the BR Blue with the split head code. Now, this was released, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And if I remember rightly, we had him in stock for about 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
So they really flew out of the door. Yeah. So if you're after one of them, you missed out last time.
Yeah.
Make sure you grab one. Mm-hmm. But the other one there is the BR Green.
Oh yeah, I think we had that first.
And Dania, I think that came up on the screen just then.
Yes, it did.
And this has actually been returned to service on the main line in 2018 as well, so a lot of people may have seen this around on the tracks. It's always kept in immaculate condition.
Right.
So this is another one that's good for people who want a model in the 1960s but also want something that's currently around as well.
Right.
So it's a good mix. Good mix there.
Yeah, so another classic diesel really, isn't it?
That's it.
And there's yet another classic diesel making a comeback, the Class 47, with all sorts of liveries of the Class 47, including rail freight grey. Then we've also got this Greyfriars Bobby in large logo blue. I think that's the one we've got on screen just now. Once again, quite another attractive looking livery there, quite similar to the Class 41 that sold out almost immediately. So.
Yes, and these were used in Scotland in the 1980s. These are what was commonly known as shove duffs. So these actually pushed the train as well as pulled it.
Right, okay.
Some of you may have seen the Bachmann DBSO coach that's come out with the driving cab.
Right,
they were used in conjunction with those to push and pull trains between Glasgow and Edinburgh without having to waste time to switch ends. So really transformed the travel there. But also if you fancy something where you don't have to do a lot of shunting and you want a train that can go backwards and forwards but with a real diesel loco on it, these are the ones to go for.
Very, very nice. And I've got a note on here as well saying 47435 is the standard blue Class 47 that a lot of people have been asking for, and as expected, or perhaps not, there it is. It's also going to be in the 2019 range, which obviously sounds once again like quite a welcome addition.
Yeah, this is... It's as plain can come, really. There was 500 plus of these locomotives originally, and this is one of the most common liveries for them. But it's also one that's been missing from the Bachmann catalogue ever since they were announced. And more people each year have been saying we want one in just a standard condition, because with there being that many of them, they can change the number, they can have several on the layout. And it's really good to see just that perfect standard 1970s, go everywhere, do anything, loco, replicated.
Right.
So it might not be the most flash, it might not be sort of an out there extravagant livery, but it really is that you can't not have one if you model the 1970s.
Well, that's it. That is the world of model railways. Not everything is going to be flash, and so that's quite a nice representation of that fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so I sound like a broken record now. We're coming down this list, I'm saying another classic diesel, but this next one really is a classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the very famous Class 55 Deltic. It doesn't get much more classic than that, really, does it, as far as diesels are
That's it. I know these are a lot of people's favourites, especially with the Napier engines in there. They have a sound quite unlike anything else on the railways, really. More of a sort of a droning noise than an actual sort of real grunty diesel. So these are really, really iconic, as you said. And they're coming back in 2 liveries this year, I believe.
Right, yes, that's it. We've got a BR green one. I don't know if... No, we haven't got a picture of that one. In fact, we haven't got any Deltic pictures, unfortunately, but they are out there if you want to look them up. We have, St. Paddy in BR green with the full yellow ends, and that one is weathered, in fact, as well, so that's quite nice. And then you've got 55003, which is in the blue. Quite a nice classic Deltic livery. I'm waiting now for the Deltic prototype to come back.
Yes.
I'd love to get one of those. But so that's the Deltics. Another one, Class 66, of course. There's quite a few new distinctive liveries of those coming back.
Yeah, quite a few new liveries came out in real life on these in 2018. Some really distinctive, vibrant liveries that a lot of enthusiasts have really caught on to. So it's good to see them in the catalogue as well.
Yeah.
The first one there, I think, is the 66413, which is in the new Freightliner livery. If I'm right in thinking it's the only one in real life that's that colour at the moment. But it was also named Lest We Forget, which was for the World War One commemorative anniversary. There's also, sorry, let me just check the sheets. We've got 66789, which is the British Rail version. This is operated by GB Rail Freight, and this is to commemorate 70 years of British Rail, which was last year from 1948.
Right, okay, so it's quite another big milestone, really.
Yeah, and then last but not least, we've got one that a lot of people took to quite a lot of the time, and this is 66783. Now, this was a sponsorship deal with Biffa, who do a lot of the waste disposal. You probably see the bins more than the 66 out there, but this was actually named a Flying Dustman as well, in homage to the Flying Scotsman. So
brilliant.
Not quite the same top link duties, I think, but still seen quite a lot on the railways. And 3 liveries there that are completely different to anything that's gone before on the 66s. So even though these locos are 20 years old plus now, they're still throwing out a few surprises in just what's happening to them in real life.
Yeah, so nice to see something different there.
Definitely.
We've got another electric coming back. I think there was a couple, but one of note is the Class 85 electric, which is quite a nice looking thing, really. We've got it in the electric blue, I believe it is. I don't think we've got a picture of that one on the old database. I think this is the livery. Is this the livery that these were built in?
Yeah, this is as they came out. These are some of the sort of the granddads of the electric loco. These came out in the 60s to when they first started putting electric wires up en masse on UK's railways to handle a lot of the expresses. And this is quite different than the normal BR Blue. It's more of a paler shade. And you can use this alongside steam engines as well, so you can have sort of the height of technology in the 1960s alongside steam locomotives, which is quite good. But again, these go like hotcakes when they're in. Yes. So the BR Blue versions go quite well as well, but this electric blue, this quite striking livery, really does go.
Yeah, well, you can see why. Very, very striking, as you say. Onto the DMUs then. The Derby Lightweight, I should say, is coming back into the range. That is one that I am familiar with. I've done a review on that a few years ago. Quite a decent model, that one. Not seen it for a couple of years, so once again, quite nice to see that one.
Yeah, it's been notable in its absence, really. It is a really nice bit of kit, and these were the first sort of mainstream diesel multiple unit. These are what really brought in the change. So everything you see on the network now, like the Sprinters, Turbo Stars, etc., they all hark back to this original sort of Derby lightweight unit and a couple of other prototype ones, but this was the first sort of mainstream commuter multiple unit.
Right, yes. So, once again, very, very attractive little DMUs. Nice little 2-car sets, I believe, aren't they? So, it's quite a nice little train pack.
That's it, and this is the sort of thing, for those who don't have quite a larger layout, I want to build a smaller sort of diorama, these are perfect to use for that situation. You've got a full train within 2 cars, so you don't need to worry about buying tens of coaches, 5 locos, wagons, etc. You've got a full set in sort of that long, really, So.
And they're quite good quality as well, aren't they?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, you've got all the lights, not only the front lights and the cab lights, but you've got interior lighting as well for the passengers. So it's the full package, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're relatively inexpensive too. When you consider all the onboard tech and whatnot.
All the Bachmann's DMUs are really good models. So every single one they've brought out, so they're all worth a look. And I believe there's a couple more coming out this year, actually.
Yes.
So a few more on the way. We've got
let's talk about some of those.
We've got the Class 105 making a return as well, and this is one that in real life there's far more models than these than there are in real life. I think there's only 1 or 2 left in full size now. One of those that was fully refurbished recently, so they're coming back into the frame a bit in real life. So it's good to see them coming back into frame a bit in model form as well. and this one's going to be in BR Blue
And
as well. So again, something you see everywhere. And
yeah, and I believe this one's a weathered example as well, isn't
yes.
it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And something I think we forgot to mention as well, with a lot of the diesels and things that we've looked at, there's also going to be DCC sound available for most of them, isn't there? Which is quite a nice new idea from Bachmann, and I think it's going to do reasonably well. I think.
In the past, they've kept the two separate. They've either done a sound version of a loco and then a different livery on another. But this year they have done a version of you can either have it with sound or without on quite a lot of the releases, so you can make the choice, which is a really good decision actually, because sound is popular but it's not to everyone's taste.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if you want it without, you can have it without. If you want it with, you can have it with. So the choice is yours.
So yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that earlier on, but that's I think it's definitely something worth mentioning, because that's something we noticed straight away. Okay, so what's that? We've had the Derby Lightweight, we've had the Class 105, we also have the Class 205, which is also known as the Thumper, of course. I think we've got a photograph of one of these as well. Quite an interesting looking livery too on this one, if we've got a picture. And yes, there it is. So there's a few of the Thumpers coming out, isn't there, in a few different liveries. We've got BR and Southern Green. There's BR Blue as well. What's this one? The NSE Revised.
This is the later version of the Network Southeast livery. This is what we've got on the screen at the moment.
Yep.
So this is as they were in the late 80s, early 90s. And these were used on, well, pretty much all over the southeast, really, on lines that they didn't put the third rail down on. So they were essentially a version of the electric multiple units, but instead of having a underfloor engine or the third rail pickup, they had a great big English Electric 6-cylinder power unit in what they used sometimes as the baggage area as well. So it's more like a diesel engine pulling coaches, but all in one coach rather than your conventional multiple unit.
Yeah, it's quite unusual that then, is it?
Yeah, it's not something you see a lot of in this country. You see quite a few designs like that abroad, but I think it might be the only style like that over here. So something a little different, really.
Yeah, sounds it. And then to finish off with the DMUs, a couple that I'm not really very familiar with, so I'll read it out, but I won't know what I'm talking about. It's the Class 411. So tell us a little about that.
Well, this is your sort of archetypal Southern Region commuter unit. These transported millions and millions of commuters from the 60s right up until the late 1990s. These are what they call the slam door unit. So a lot of people will be familiar with these at London's various terminuses, coming in many of them over the days. And these are coming back this year in BR Green and BR Blue Grey, both of which will be weathered as well. With these being so well used, so to speak, they rarely got time to go for a wash, so seeing them weathered was probably more common than seeing them clean. Which isn't too good for the commuters, but it's good for the modeller, especially with the quality of Bachmann's weathering jobs. So really look forward to seeing that coming through.
Yes, certainly. And then I think it is last, in fact, on the list of DMUs we have the Class 419.
Yeah, these are the motor luggage vans. Now, these were made purely for handling parcels and luggage traffic. So no passenger seats in these at all. Just for your mail, essentially. But something a little bit special about these is they actually had batteries in them as well.
Oh, did they?
So you could take them off the power supply and go for a jolly somewhere else, essentially.
I see.
In a lot of places where they had the ferries, they used to take them onto the boats, I believe.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So where they couldn't put an extra electric rail onto a boat, and they just took them off and pulled the luggage onto there. So if you don't quite fancy putting down a third rail on an electric layout, you can still have an electric unit. Just have batteries included, cool. As they say.
Let's hope the Bachmann one has batteries included too. So there we go, that is your diesels and the DMUs.
Yes.
Shall we head over to the other Dave and see what people's thoughts are on this sort of stuff?
Yeah, loads more comments. There's been quite a few super chats. Unfortunately, we missed a couple as we were reading the last super chats out, so I haven't got everyone. There was one from Waffenträger auf E100, in reference to a German tank there, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's put a super chat in, and he's also asked, are there any new sets coming out? He's seen the Whiskey Galore set, but he hasn't seen anything else. Now, not as far as we know. We've not seen anything announced from Bachmann about any new sets this year. So it's just the new toolings and then the reliveries that we've talked about here. Unfortunately, there's no new sets coming out.
Okay.
Lots of people liking the what they call the toothpaste thumper, the Network Southeast one. Looks a bit like a Colgate livery on it. Loads of people love the 66. The 66 have gone down really well on the chat. Lots of people complaining they're going to have no money left with the Hornby and Bachmann announcements.
Yeah, well, that's very understandable.
Yeah.
We know the feeling.
There was a couple of people also asking about the running sessions and whether you're going to do any running sessions now. With the same with the Hornby, you're not doing any running sessions in these ISM.
Not today, no. Just because we sort of set up with the equipment and stuff. We've got wires all over the tracks. If we did run anything, it would end up in a pretty terrible derailment, to be honest.
Yeah.
So we're going to save that. However, the videos will be coming back quite soon. I have got some running sessions set up. So if you're killing for a running session, it won't be long now. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, rightio. So
very nice. Well, that's going to be it for the time being. We thought we would go for a little break now and just let some of that go down, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about rolling stock and a little bit about some of the other products that Bachmann are due to release in the pretty near future. See you in a second.
See you shortly.
Okay, we're back, folks. Welcome back, welcome back. I want to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody that supported us today, either by watching or by sending in the super chats. I really do appreciate those, and even though we're not having a lot of time to, go through those and thank everybody individually today, I will make sure that that is done at some point. It's only right. So if you only just joined us or only just recently joined us, we started off by looking at some of the new Bachmann 009 releases, which is going to be quite interesting. We've got the newly tooled wagon that Bachmann are bringing out this year in 00 gauge. And we've looked at some of the re-liveries on some of the steam diesel and electric locos that Bachmann have already in the range. So as I said, as I promised just before the break, we're now going to be looking at some of the rolling stock. Just a bit of a whistle-stop tour really of the rolling stock. There is quite a lot on the list. So once again, check out the link that's going to be in the description after the stream, or head over to hattons.co.uk if you want to see the whole range. But we've just picked out one or two of the highlights, shall we say?
Yeah, some of our favourites.
All right, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. Well, as a lot of you all know, Bachmann has got a lot of sort of the core of rolling stock in its range. It's got various Mark 1 coaches, various Mark 2s, etc. So it's good to see some new liveries on these, but some old favourites come back this year as well.
Yes.
We've got a couple of re-releases in the BR Blue and Grey livery, which will complement a lot of the locos we spoke about in the first half. These are your standard open coaches, corridor coaches, etc.
Just the standard stuff.
This is it. This is the sort of thing that ran around, and it's in thousands and thousands of them all around the UK. There wasn't a part of the British Railway network that didn't get covered by these, really. These are the sort of everyone needs one.
Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see those back in a nice updated fashion, I suppose. It had to be done, really, didn't it? Then you mentioned just before, while we were talking, there's a few sort of new liveries, isn't there, on certain Mark 1s?
Yeah, now this is bound to be popular with a lot more of the modern image modelers. This is the West Coast livery that's come out, the West Coast Railway Company. We were talking in the first half about how the locos were used a lot on the charters, the Class 37 there. Now these are the coaches they pull. So you don't only use these with the diesel locos, you can use these with a lot of the steam locos too. Yes. So if anyone fancies a steam loco on a modern image layout, these are the coaches that you'll need.
Yes.
And they're doing quite a few different types there as well, so you can make a full rake. I think they're doing a buffet car in there as well. And they're doing the Mark II style of coach as well as the Mark 1. So you don't have to have the same coach going over and over.
Yeah.
As they do in real life, you can have a bit of a mix in there, really.
Absolutely.
But anyone who models bang up to date and the last sort of 15 to 20 years but wants a steam loco on the layout, it's pretty much going to be these that it's pulling around. So
yes,
I can see these selling quite a few.
Yeah, you'd think so. And that one thing to be said about Bachmann this year is that they're not just putting out locos and leaving you high and dry with them. They seem to be really thinking about what locos and what rolling stock are going to be available at the same time, so that you've always, or most of the time, got something suitable to run alongside them, which is quite nice, that, isn't it? Quite a nice way of doing things.
You're not waiting to buy the coaches for the loco you've just bought. If you want the whole set, you can go and buy it all or pre-order it all, I should say, at once.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Okay, so what have you got next then with regards to the coaches?
So next it's a continuation of those sort of 70s and 80s liveries. It's good to see some of the Royal Mail coaches back there. And one livery that's really popular at the moment is ScotRail.
Yes, I think we've got some images of the ScotRail ones.
I think we have got those up. Now this is the 1980s ScotRail rather than the current ScotRail. We'll come back to that shortly.
Okay.
But this is the livery that worked with the Class 47s and worked with the driving coaches that I mentioned before. Yes. And it really is quite an iconic livery. Again, a lot of people are familiar with this, and a lot of people have been asking for these particular coaches in this colour, so it's good to see their prayers answered, so to speak.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these coaches are really well detailed models. They've been in the range now for about 10 or so years, but as you said before, they don't age.
No, sometimes they don't seem to, do they? They always seem to look good in a good livery.
That's it.
Most old models can be brought back to life, can't they, a lot of the time?
And it's interesting as well to think that these have been out pretty much every year for those 10 years in different colours, and there's still more colours to go. Right. You know, it just shows you what a life these particular vehicles have had. There's still more and more to go at here, so who knows what we'll see them in next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it for the ScotRail, is it? There's also the Network Rail, have we got as
well? Yeah, there's Network Rail coaches. As we saw in the Hornby video last week, Network Rail coaches are always popular. Anything yellow sells, as we said. So it's good to see Bachmann joining in on the yellow coaches here as well. I think this is one that they've done previously as a limited edition, but now it's available in the main range. And again, as we said last week, yellow stuff doesn't hang around. It really does just go straight through, in and out. So
it seems to.
If you're a fan of Network Rail, if you want to pair it up with something like the Colas Class 37 from before, like they do in real life, do get your order in for that one, because it's going to go.
Yeah, and once again, just very nice to see it in the main range at long last, to where everybody can enjoy it, where it belongs to be. Okay, what's next then?
Well, we are coming up to now the bird cages, and these are still pretty new models. They've only been out about a year and a half now, and these are exquisite. The liveries on these you can get at the moment. You can get Southern Railway green, you can get BR maroon, but now they're doing the SECR brown livery as well, which was more around World War One. This is really good to go with the loco that they're bringing out as well, the C class, but also Hornby's H, the Hatton's P class will pair up with these quite nicely as well. So if you've got a loco you like in the Southeastern Chatham livery, here's a coach or two or three to go behind it.
And I think it's called Wellington Brown, isn't it, with this version, which is quite an interesting. I don't think I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, it's not something I've heard of, to be quite honest. It's one of the rare things that gets me stumped, you know.
But looking at the photo, it looks like a typical pre-grouping coach, really, in a livery that you wouldn't necessarily expect.
That's it.
It's not unattractive, though, is it, in the Wellington Brown?
It's not at all, and I think paired next to a green loco as well with all the lining on it, it will look like a really nice pair. So definitely worth a look.
Yeah, that's it. I was surprised, that one. I read it on the sheet, I thought Wellington Brown, that sounds hideous. But then just take a look at it, and the thing looks great. So who knows what it'll look like with the C-Class, but hopefully quite impressive.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so what have we got coming up next?
Well, we're going bang up to date now.
Right.
And we're going to Bachmann's Mark II F coach. Now, these have been out for about 3 or 4 months. You can get them at the moment in Intercity and blue-grey livery, so it's good to see these getting some new colour schemes on. The first one is the Virgin Trains livery.
Yes,
now
classic.
This came out in the 1990s, and back then it was like nothing else that had gone before, with everyone familiar to 30 to 40 years of British Railways liveries.
Must have been a shock to the system, right?
It was. It really was sort of the 90s and privatisation of the railways coming out in force, and it's pretty controversial at the time, but now it's not been around for a couple of years, and some people are starting to look back at it quite fondly, so it's just interesting at how history works, doesn't it? But it is a really nice livery, and they're doing the full set of variations there for a full rate. They're doing the first class, the buffet cars, the standard cars, and the brakes to go in between, so you can get a full set. And Bachmann released the Class 47 loco for this last year as well, so a lot of people may already have the loco.
Yeah, so once again, that's perfect
coaches
match.
Go behind.
Yep. Finally then, on the coaches, what have we got here? With ScotRail?
Yes, now this is what I alluded to earlier. So this is the return of ScotRail. This is the modern ScotRail as is bang up to date today. So this is on Bachmann's Mark II F tooling. This is going to come through hopefully at some point this year, and these are in service in real life at the moment, hauled around by Class 68 locomotives used out of Edinburgh. So again, quite a classic train with a modern makeover. Really does look 21st century. You wouldn't think that the real things are 40 years old now once they've got that modern colour scheme on them. And again, Bachmann's model of them is absolutely crammed full of details to come with full DCC lighting. The underframe detail is absolutely exquisite on them. So with this bang up to date livery on it, it really will look the part.
Absolutely. Well, that's exciting. We'll look and see what that's like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll head over to the other Dave then and see if there's been any comments and things about the coaches and such.
Yeah, quite a few people just talking about the Mark II Fs there that have just come up. Saying about how there's quite a few people surprised to see the Virgin livery coming onto them, so that's quite nice. There's a couple of comments about the LNER HST. If you look at the stream we did last week, that Hornby actually announced that they were doing the Mark IIIs and the power cars to go with the HSTs. So you'll be able to get them from us if you go through that stream. You'll see that. Other than that, yeah, lots of people, the West Coast coaches as well, they've gone down really, really well. A lot of people saying they've been waiting for them for a long time.
I really thought they would do.
So,
I'm really not surprised by that.
So yeah, there's a lot of people talking about that sort of. It looks like the more modern things, but although the bird cages did get a lot of nice mentions for how exquisite they look, because they really are really nice. Nice. You know, you say to someone, "Oh, there's a brown coach," it doesn't exactly sound very inspiring, but probably why they called it what they did.
Yeah. It's quite pompous, that, really.
Yeah, sounds better than brown.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Turf brown. Right, cool.
Fantastic.
So there we go. That is a little bit on the some of the coaches, just some of them. There's quite a lot of other stuff. Once again, check out our range if you want to see more. Once again, then we'll head on for another whistle stop tour. This time of some of the different wagons. So we've got some images coming up. We've got the China clay wagons. A couple of different versions of these coming back. We've got a Great Western one. I forget which image we've got for them, but there's the Great Western one and the bauxite version as well. Quite nice looking things, aren't they?
Yeah, these again are quite standard wagons. They're used a lot down in Cornwall for, well, transport of China clay really, but these went right through until about the 1980s, from really far back in the steam days. So you can use these with old-fashioned Great Western steam locomotives, you can use them with Class 37s in pretty modern liveries, so a good excuse for everyone to have a look at those really, because they lasted a lot longer than people think.
Right, yeah, so handy. What's coming up next then?
This is the scrap wagon, the SSA. Now this has been missing from the range for quite a few years, and a lot of people have been asking for it to come back.
Okay.
I don't think it's been available in this colour scheme itself for even longer. A lot of these usually come out in a real sort of plain blue colour.
Right.
These, well, they're exactly what they say on the tin. They were used for carrying scrap around the UK. I think there's still some in service, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you there.
Okay.
But they have been around for about 30 years now, so again, something that can be used by quite a lot of people in quite a lot of places.
Yeah, and again, quite nice to see a new livery, of course,
Yeah.
and the EWS lovers will be quite pleased with that, I would have thought. Okay, next up then you've got some of the 45-ton well wagons, which once again we've got images of. There's quite a few versions of these announced. We've got the LMS Grey, which is I believe the one that you've got on the screen now, but there's also Great Western Grey, BR Grey. There's quite a lot of greys with these well wagons, aren't there?
Yeah, it's that sort of era where you could have a wagon and it was grey or brown essentially. It didn't get quite imaginative in the colours, but different markings are your only real difference. But these got used for so many things. We could be here for hours making a video on them really. So they carried boilers, they carried various road machinery, etc. Anything essentially that you needed that was quite big to move around on a railway was where one of these came in.
Yes.
So again,
one size fits all.
It really was, and pretty much everything did fit in them. If it didn't, well, why were you taking it essentially?
So there we go. That is a lot of the wagons. Now we've got a little something to mention here that is not a newly announced release for today, but it's something that we've seen in let's say a new light for the first time today.
Yeah, we saw this picture, and while the stream is focused on the new releases, we just couldn't leave this out. This is Bachmann's crane. This has been it's been announced for about 2 years now, and this is on track to be released, I think, about summer this year. And this is the first time they've shown the decorated samples. Now, this is going to be something special. This is a fully working crane as well, so everything you see there moves. And we've seen the initial samples before that they used for testing the movement, etc. But now it's got a bit of colour on it. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
Completely brings it to life, doesn't it?
It really does.
Painted up.
And there's 4 different colour schemes there as well. For the guys who don't want British Railways, you can have the Great Western and the Southern Railway styles. But again, they go through the BR Black and the BR Red, so even the diesel modelers can have one as well. So they really are nice bits of kit. Those looking like it's going to be something special, and really wanted to make a special mention of those.
Absolutely, and it's worth mentioning that there are other images of the different samples of the different versions, so if you're at all interested in those, it's worth heading over and checking some of those out. Most of them are very impressive, in fact all of them obviously are quite impressive, but they're also very, very different. Slight changes in the livery and the colour makes them look like completely different models, so well worth a look if you're interested in those. Right. Whew, there we go. That's the wagons. We've got a few other little bits and bobs to talk about, though, haven't we? Just other accessories and other minor parts of the Bachmann release. So
well, that's it. As ever, Bachmann's releases are never sort of just down to the actual locos and rolling stock. They always manage to put a few more interesting bits in there as well. One thing that always comes through every year is additions to the Scenecraft range, and some familiar returns as well. A lot of people have been asking for the 4-road engine shed to come back.
Yes.
Now, this is a really big depot, this one. I think we might have a picture of this one.
Yes,
I'm not 100% sure.
We certainly do.
But this is one that people have been asking for, and I think you can fit about 8 large steam locos, and it's if you are
mighty thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a pretty meaty bit of kit, really. So if you're making a depot scene on your layout and you really want to go to town, this is the way to go.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
So that's one of the main things. But a whole new range they seem to be bringing out is a sort of a Welsh narrow gauge themed set.
Yeah. Well,
so they're really embracing the narrow gauge range at the moment, and this is a lot of slate built buildings, so everyone who's seen the Great Little Trains of Wales, that sort of thing,
definitely get a Welsh vibe off that.
That's it, will really get that feeling coming through there. So they've done an engine shed, I think they've done a bridge in there as well.
Yes, there's a bridge, there it is.
Various other depot buildings, so you can build a full range, and anyone who's a lot of people are fans of those railways down in Wales, so if anyone wants to take a piece home with them and start their own plan, this is the time to do it, especially with the locos and wagons and such becoming more available, as we mentioned before.
So again, it all just goes together so nicely this year, doesn't it?
It really, really does.
But yeah, there's quite a bit of the Scenecraft stuff. We haven't really had time to sort of get images together for all of that and to talk about all of it, because we are sort of running out of time now. But again, there's quite a bit to see with regards to that. So as always, if you're interested in that, there is more to it than what we've just mentioned. So
it's worth a look at the catalogue there.
All right, what else were we going to talk about?
Well, it's not really with inside the 00 range, but we've got to have a look at the Graham Farish releases as well. N-Gauge is just as important as 00 gauge. It's still got a huge following out there, and there are some real innovations in the N-Gauge range this year. So there are some new toolings there too.
Okay.
There's the HKA hopper wagon again, which we saw in 00.
Yes, so that's also being represented in N-Gauge as well, which was quite impressive. Is this an N-Gauge image of it now, or is it the 00? Okay, yes. So that is in fact the actual N-Gauge model that will be released. So it's quite nice to see that in N-Gauge too. Yeah,
and I believe the same liveries are being transposed there as well. So have a look on the listings again, and you'll see the exact liveries and running numbers available. But also a downsizing from the 00 range is what they call a Parrot wagon, which is a version of the War Flat.
Okay.
Now that was made for the First World War for the War Department then, and used again for a variety of different uses. I think some got sold to the LMS as well, so really good for the steam era modelers. It's like we were saying on the whale wagon before, it's just a one size fits all. They're used for so many different things in and outside military use. So really good wagon to see joining the N-scale range. That
handy addition to the range.
Yes, definitely.
I've not actually got any of this stuff written down, so if I'm looking sort of over there, that's the thing. It was that last minute, believe it or not. Right, so what have we done? You take care of this.
Yeah, well, this is next up. There's a lot of development in the DCC sound range. We've had a few DCC sound locos in N-Gauge through, which have always been popular, always gone really quickly. And when you think about it, the size of getting sound in those things, I wouldn't even like to think about designing that.
I agree. And I mean, for any N-Gauge locomotive, to fit a sound, to fit all of that circuitry in there, to fit the speakers in is astonishing. But something like we've got on the screen now, how on earth do they do that?
This is the Class 14, and they're just short of about 2 inches in real life, these. So how to fit a full sound chip and speaker in there?
Well, yeah, I mean, last week when we did the Hornby stream, we were amazed by the fact that they fit a motor in a model that was 2 inches long. And here we are with not only a motor, but the full circuitry. I don't know about lights or anything, but it's certainly got the DCC sound. And it's just astonishing, really, what they're capable of.
That's it. And the 14's not been in the catalogue for a few years as well. So as well as the sound upgrade, they're doing a few new liveries. You saw in the picture just then, they're doing the National Coalboard Orange and Black.
Yes.
But also they're doing, I think it's the maroon livery as well on this one. So a couple of new first-time liveries there, which is good to see. But the sound doesn't stop there, so to speak. It really carries on through the range. There's the Class 60 in DB Schenker livery that's coming through. Now, this is a pretty popular livery anyway, but again, squeezing sound into a loco like that will just make it that little bit more special.
Yep.
And it's interesting to see Hornby and Farish doing DB Schenker sound Class 60s in that livery as well. So
if you like that livery and you like sound, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good year. You can get them in all different.
That's
scales
it. If you model both gauges, you can have a loco in the same livery, but different sizes of sound. But they're also doing the standard 5MT as well with sound. That's another loco that's getting sound for the first time. Also the Class 101 multiple unit. Now they recently released the Class 108 with sound, which is a pretty similar bit of kit, and that really did sound well for the size.
Really, yeah.
It sounded like it was the full size thing. Really, the sound quality was that good on it. For N-Gage, it was absolutely remarkable.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few new sound projects coming through, and again there's a wealth of new liveries. As Sam said previously, we've not quite had the time to go through in as much detail, but the full catalogue is available for a look through. So if you are an N-Gage modeler, please do follow the link at the bottom of the video, and the full N-Gage releases are on there. But there's also a couple of the highlights. We've got the Class 150 in Northern Rail livery. This is the bang up to date livery that came out last year. So a lot of people will be looking forward to that coming through. And there is also quite a few returns, as there was in the 00 gauge range. Some things that we haven't seen for a few years. The J39 you see there on the screen has had a couple of new liveries, a couple of new numbers. But that's the theme for the whole N-Gage range. It's as per the 00. There's a lot of new liveries coming through there, a lot of returns to form, a lot of people things might have missed the first time round. So if you are an N-Gage modeler, please do go and have a look. There's just as much good stuff in the N-Gage range as there is in the 00.
I mean, the N-Gage range is huge now, isn't it, compared to a few years ago? It really has come along quite a long way. So that's fantastic. I think we're just about the end of it there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to Dave and let him sort of give you, give us your thoughts. But also, now that we're at the end, you've seen everything that we've got to show you. Let us know in the chat what you've enjoyed seeing the most, or perhaps what you're the most looking forward to, and I'll get onto that in just a second and read some of those out. So get thinking, and for now we'll go over to Dave and we'll see what people have been saying.
Yeah, quite a few people talking about the N-Gage range, quite a few people relieved to see it. They didn't think we were going to do it because they've been asking throughout the stream. But we've got onto that. A lot of people liking the 60. There's quite a few comments coming in. But I think the main thing that was being talked about since you last came to me was the crane. Yes. There's a lot of people that like that crane. It's with good reason. It's exquisite with all the rigging on it and everything, and the printing. There was one comment that stood out from a certain SDJR7 F88 saying, "Do you remember Wally?" There was some reference to Wally there.
Oh right. No. Well, I do remember Wally, but I don't know what about it. Right.
I think you'll have to remind you. You have to send you a message and remind you.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, there's loads and loads of people who've really like that crane, and quite a few of the wagons as well.
Yes. Oh well, that's good. That's good to hear. Right, Dave. Number one. Shall we have a quick look through, see what people have been saying?
Let's see what we can find.
Well, immediately I can see that Flying Scott says he can't wait to get his hands on the N-Gage 8F.
Yeah, that's one that was announced last year, but it's coming through the range now, so we should see a lot more of that this year, so do keep an eye out.
Yeah, that's quite a theme with this year as well. We're still sort of waiting for a lot of the great stuff that's come out. So even though not an awful lot has been released new, announced new, I should say, today, there's still quite a lot on the way.
Yeah, there's a lot about to come through in 2019 as well, so... There's one from Logan Arder, who can't get enough coaches and wagons, so I think this has been the year for him, hasn't it, really? There's quite a lot of coaches and wagons coming through, so...
Yeah, Multidel 90 says the crane is great. Well, it certainly is. It's quite an impressive piece of kit, that. Can't wait to see what it's done. Oh, the crane at the prototype at Worley, says S&DGR7 F88. Yes, we got a little sneak peek of that at Worley. But yeah, it looks all the better with the paintwork on it in the painted samples.
So there's one we had a laugh about last time from MDH Games. Sam, if you read this, I hope Dave and Beardy Dave have had fun.
Ooh,
so
Dave.
That caused a lot of comments in the office. We've not worked on a new T-shirt yet for the other Dave, but I'm sure we'll get something sorted in time.
Beardy Dave, blimey. We're getting offensive. Big shout out, please, guys. Great job as always, says Sandridge Junction. Well, thank you very much. Really glad you enjoyed it. Train Spotter 2003 as well, says hi. Well, hi to you too.
Hello.
The funny Foxy J39 I want. Yes, so do I. And interestingly, the 00 J39's on the way pretty soon as well, isn't it? Presumably with the new chassis.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe that's still on the way. So.
SDJR 7F88 says the 009 range is very welcome. Yes, I know Callum does like his 009 stuff, doesn't he? He's surprised by the Baldwin liveries. I think that pretty much goes for everybody. Very happy with the more WDLR wagons for the trench railways. Oh, fantastic! Yes, so I think Callum's behind me. Callum, you're in big trouble now, aren't you, with the old wallet? Have to see what happens with that. Let's have a look. What shall we say? 2 more? Do you want to spot one?
So MDH games again now. We can't wait to get a West Coast 37. I need one. Well, I think a lot of people will be following you there. There's quite a few people who've been asking for it for a few years. So lot of orders coming in there, I imagine.
Yep, and Patrick Webb says it'd be awesome to get the Patriot. Well, I could certainly tell you that the Patriot's an excellent model. Yeah, you're a big fan of that too.
Yeah, one of the favourites. So.
Right, well, that has been brilliant. Thank you very, very much to everybody that's come to watch. It's been great fun to look through the Bachmann range. Once again, it's quite a lot to look forward to. And
absolutely.
This combined, of course, with the Hornby range and, of course, all the other manufacturers. I mean, even you guys have got some cool stuff on the way before very long. So I think, really, we're set for quite a good year, to be honest, aren't we, with 2019?
It's good to see Bachmann coming through with, again, as we said last week with the Hornby, there's something for everyone in this year's Bachmann catalogue, whether you model pre-grouping right through to the present day, you like steam, diesel, electric, even narrow gauge, really. So a lot of good stuff to look through, so please do have a look through the full listings. We didn't have time to capture absolutely everything, but there's over 400 new items this year, so we might have been here for a little while longer in that case, but do take the time to go and have a look through and see what we couldn't quite cover, but we hope that we caught the best of the selection for you.
I think we did. I think we did some pretty good stuff. Right, well, I don't think there's anything more to say other than enjoy yourselves. Hope you enjoy the new releases. We'll be back, no doubt, very soon with some more streams. We'll find an excuse, don't worry. And I'll be back on Wednesday as well when the videos will start again. I've already filmed the first review.
Okay.
Except another loco has arrived today, which is a brand new release. Not going to say anything about it, but that might take its place. So I might be sort of announcing in 2 videos that this is the first review of 2019.
Right. Okay. Well.
So we're starting with a bit of confusion, just to kick things off.
I know what I'm doing on Wednesday now. In that case, I'll be glued to my monitor in that case. So.
Oh goodness. Right. Well, I think that's it from me. Dave, anything else to say?
Not at all. Just thanks everyone for watching again. It's great to be here with Sam. I'm glad you all enjoyed the first video, and hope you've enjoyed this one just as much. And again, have a look through the range at your leisure. There's some really good stuff in there, and thanks everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you. Dave number 2, any closing statements from you?
No, just thanks for everyone for continuing the chat and just sending in all your comments. Yes. And thank you. I'll see you again soon. BJ Dave signing off.
Take care, everybody. See you very, very soon.
Take care. All the best.
Well, thank you all for joining me for yet another episode of Sam's Trains Live. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, I'm going to be back with another episode next Friday night at 5 PM, so if you can, please feel free to join me there. But for now, thank you once again for watching. If you've got any ideas for future streams, do please let me have them in the comments, and I will see you all very, very soon. Alright, cheers everybody.